The Coalition Government Comprehensive Spending Review was released on the 20th of October 2010. In order to understand more about how the public has reacted to these proposals and to ascertain wider views on the UK economic and political landscape, Ci Research conducted 306 interviews over 3 days through a mixture of street and online methodologies. The survey made use of the conjoint technique trade-off to gauge the relative strength of support or opposition to a number of proposed cuts. Respondents were first asked to state their current level of interest in UK politics. Over 2/3, 68%, of the public are either very or fairly interested in politics. Those aged 45 plus, males and Labour voters seem to be most interested. Respondents were then asked how interested they were in the UK economy. In general, interest in the economy is higher than interest in politics, with nearly 3/4, 73%, of the public being at least fairly interested. Again, those aged 45 plus, males and Labour voters seem the most interested. However, Conservative voters have a higher interest in the economy than they do in politics. When asked to indicate the extent to which levels of interest have changed as a result of the spending review, we can see that there has only been a slight increase. More than half, 53%, said their interest had remained the same. Those educated to degree level and higher are the group which the spending review had most significantly impacted interest levels. Similarly, interest levels in the economy have only increased slightly as a result of the spending review. All respondents were asked to rate how positively they felt towards the outcomes of the spending review. The proportion of the public expressing negative views towards the spending review is double that of those expressing positive views. Perhaps unsurprisingly, political stance has a large influence on views, with Labour voters significantly less positive than Liberal Democrat and especially Conservative voters. Positivity also increased with respondent age and annual household income. Respondents were shown 10 elements of the spending review. Some were real examples of proposed cuts, while others were red herrings. These elements were: retirement age for men and women increased to 66, all bin collections to be fortnightly rather than weekly, a 10% budget cut for the Royal Household and Civil List, an 8% cut in the defence budget, 7 billion in welfare cuts, police funding cut by 4% a year, rail fares to rise 3% above inflation, VAT increases to 20%, plans for new 1,500 place prison to be dropped and 3,000 fewer prison places by 2015, child benefit abolished for higher income earners. Respondents were then asked to allocate 7 points between various randomly paired elements at a time, being forced to make personal decisions regarding their relative support towards one element over another to a greater or lesser degree. This visual describes levels of support for each of the 10 cuts. A score of 100 illustrates an average score. A score of 50 illustrates a cut being half as appealing, and a score of 200 illustrates a cut being twice as appealing. Overall findings show how the public are significantly more in support of cutting the royal budget, with child benefit cuts for higher earners also relatively more supported. Cuts to police funding, VAT increases, and further rail fare increases were least popular. The table highlights the differences by subgroups. Royal budget cuts were more popular with Labour voters, with popularity decreasing with age. Welfare cuts were significantly more popular with Conservative voters, with popularity increasing with age. Fortnightly bin collections were more popular with Labour voters, with popularity decreasing with age. Conservative voters were less likely than other voters to support defence cuts, but were more likely to support an increase in retirement age. Support for rail fare increases grew with age, although Liberal Democrat voters were significantly less supportive than other voters. Support for VAT increases also grew with age, but were significantly less popular among Labour voters. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this screencast. To discuss the findings further, or if you have any questions, please contact either Andy Wright or Andy Roberts on 01 625 628 000.